Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The sound of a newborn's cry echoed through the hospital corridor, raw and pure. My hands trembled as I pressed my forehead to the glass, staring at the tiny baby swaddled in white. My wife, Rachel, stood inside the nursery, smiling proudly as the nurse handed her the infant. She looked radiant. Too radiant. For 18 years, Rachel had been my anchor, my home. We had struggled with infertility for a decade before deciding to pursue surrogacy. I had thought this baby would heal us, mend the invisible cracks that had begun to spread through our marriage. But as I watched her cradle the baby with trembling joy, something inside me twisted. The baby's features were soft and undefined, but one thing struck me immediately. The infant's eyes were hazel. Mine were blue. Rachel's were green. Hazel. A small detail, meaningless on its own, but it pierced my chest like a nail. The doctor patted my shoulder. "Congratulations, Mr. Hayes. A beautiful, healthy baby." I forced a smile. "Thank you." But the word felt foreign, hollow, as if it belonged to someone else. That night, at home, Rachel moved through the nursery like a woman possessed, folding baby clothes, organizing tiny socks, humming a lullaby she used to sing when she thought I was asleep. I leaned in the doorway. "He's perfect." Her hands paused mid-fold. "He really is." "Tell me again," I said quietly. "About the surrogate. Emily, right?" She nodded, not looking at me. "Yes. Emily. You met her, remember? She was shy, quiet." I nodded, recalling the brief handshake, the polite smile. The clinic had handled everything else. Background checks, contracts, the medical process. I had trusted Rachel to handle most of it. She was always the planner, the perfectionist. But lately, trust had begun to feel like a habit I was performing rather than something I believed in. I crossed the room, brushing my fingers over the crib rail. I can't wait to meet her again. Maybe send her a thank you card or something. Rachel's head snapped up. No need. She wanted privacy. The clinic said she moved out of state. Her answer came too fast, too smooth. "Still," I said, keeping my tone calm. "It feels wrong not to thank her properly." Rachel smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You're sweet." But she wanted no contact. The next week, I couldn't shake the unease. It wasn't paranoia. It was instinct. 18 years of knowing Rachel meant I could tell when she was lying, even subtly. The way her hands fidgeted, her smile lingered too long, her eyes darted when I mentioned the clinic. I called the surrogacy agency under the pretense of confirming paperwork. The receptionist put me on hold, and when she returned, she said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Hayes, but our records show no active surrogacy contract under your wife's name." My heart stopped. "What?" "I can check again, but it looks like your file was closed 2 years ago." I ended the call before she could say more. Rachel came home that evening to find me sitting at the dining table, the lights dim. Her expression faltered when she saw my face. "What's wrong?" I pushed a folder across the table. "You told me we had a surrogate. That Emily carried our child." Her jaw tightened. "She did. The clinic says otherwise." Her lips parted, and for a long, suffocating moment, the only sound was the hum of the refrigerator. Then she whispered, "I can explain." "Then explain." Tears welled in her eyes, and for the first time, I saw fear. We didn't qualify anymore. After the first failed attempt, the clinic dropped us. I couldn't bear to tell you. You wanted a child so badly, and I. My voice cracked. "So what did you do, Rachel?" She looked down, her voice trembling. "I used a friend. A private arrangement. I didn't think it would matter." I stood slowly, rage and disbelief crashing through me. "Whose child is that?" Her silence was the answer. I slammed my hand on the table. "Whose, Rachel?" She whispered a name I never expected. "Daniel." The air left my lungs. "Daniel, my best friend since college. My business partner. He donated," she said quickly. "It wasn't an affair. It was the only way. I wanted you to have a family, even if you couldn't know the truth. I laughed, sharp and bitter. You think hiding it was kindness? I did it for us, she cried. For you. But her tears only deepened the ache inside me. For days, I lived in silence. I went through the motions, feeding the baby, attending meetings, pretending to function. But every time I looked at the child's face, I saw Daniel. Every coo, every movement, was a reminder of my wife's betrayal disguised as love. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just planned. A week later, I invited Daniel to dinner. Rachel's face went pale when she saw him at the door. Thought it'd be good to catch up, I said casually, pouring wine. It's been a while. The meal was polite, filled with forced laughter and tight smiles. When the baby monitor chirped from upstairs, Rachel excused herself, her hands shaking. Daniel leaned back, sighing. You're a lucky man, Ethan. She's been through a lot, you know. I looked him dead in the eyes. Yeah. She told me about the donation. His fork froze mid-air. I leaned closer. You should have told me too, old friend. But you didn't. You lied to my face for 2 years. His mouth opened, but no words came out. I smiled coldly. Don't worry. I won't ruin your life. I'll just take back what's mine. The next morning, I cleared out my savings account. The company's accounts, too. Daniel's access codes had been conveniently stored in our shared files. Within hours, I transferred everything into a trust under the baby's name, sealing it with a legal clause that barred both Rachel and Daniel from touching it. Then I packed a bag and left. No note. No closure. Just silence. 3 months later, I received an email. Rachel's name glowed on the screen. Ethan, please. Come back. He needs you. I need you. I made a mistake, but I never stopped loving you. I stared at the message until the words blurred. Then I replied with a single line. You already built the family you wanted, Rachel. Live with it. I deleted the email and closed the laptop. Outside, the morning sun spilled through the window, soft and pale. I thought of the baby, innocent, untouched by deceit, and for a fleeting moment I wished things had been different. But betrayal, once tasted, never leaves the tongue. And sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. It's about walking away, leaving the guilty to choke on their own lies. Rachel wanted a family built on secrets. I gave her silence instead.